Welcome back. Let's Be Real podcast. We're back here again. 193 of the things. How everyone
Damn.
doing?
Wayne, what's good, everybody? We 7 away for 200. We definitely hitting 200 in 2023. Definitely. So this is great. Did y'all miss us? In the words of Varnell Hill from Martin. So,
Well, of course, man. It's the guys again. Me, P Shark, Tail, and Trevor. We are missing Skyman and Sheed today, but they will be back soon. And
they got their holiday season started early, so you know how they go.
holiday season.
Zay. Hey. Shout out OJ the Juice, man.
All right, wait. But before we get started, let's get to the intro. Let's be real. All right. As always, remember to follow us on Twitter at LBR_media and listen to the podcast on any podcast and platform. We are on 11 different platforms. And of course, you can listen to us and watch us on YouTube live every Saturday or every other Saturday morning and listen to or watch the show afterward. But to get started today, let's get into the NFL. Now, actually 3 games on today, but we are going to talk about the true Super Bowl contenders. So this is almost really like a power ranking, really your top 5 power rankings, but we're just turning into actual Super Bowl contenders since, it's 3 or 4 weeks left in the regular season. So just had the guys rank the top 5 teams that they are most likely to win the Super Bowl. So it starts with 2 and Trevor, and then come back to me.
I got you, man. So we start at the bottom 5. Still got the Baltimore Ravens, man. Once Lamar Jackson comes back, of course, anytime you got a top 5 rushing and, players hungry on that team, it's about time to make it over that hump. I definitely got the Ravens in that. Another team in that, and that's been underrated, and a lot of people haven't talking about it, but they still beat top teams, and that's Cincinnati. We talked about them, coming into the season, whether their offensive line will be coming back better. And of course, at the beginning of the season, they wasn't living up to expectations, but they've been doing a lot better recently, especially with the game against Patrick Mahomes. So if you can beat Pat Mahomes, you're definitely a Super Bowl contender. And speaking of Mahomes, I got them as well. Kansas City, anytime you got Patrick Mahomes, the wonder boy, the Steph Curry of the NFL, you going to win some games. And anytime you got him, you going to damn near be a Super Bowl contender any year. Number 2, of course, Buffalo, still waiting to see them get over that hump, but they're still a contender for sure. And then, of course, last but not least, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, top end of offense, top defense.
Man, my froze.
Oh, we lost 2. Well, obviously he had the Eagles at number 1, but I guess when he comes back, we'll let him explain himself. Be honest, I actually, for the number 5 spot, I actually had some conflict because I wanted to go with the Baltimore Ravens, but I also, even though they have some injuries, somehow, some way, the San Francisco 49ers are still finding ways to win games. They have a great defense. Brock Purdy is basically just not turning the ball over. He's basically filling in the Jimmy G role. The addition of Christian McCaffrey has worked wonders for them thus far. So it was tough for me to decide. So I'm going to go 5A, 5B will be the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers because both of them actually have quarterback injuries and they both made some key additions, which could potentially put them in contention possibly for a Super Bowl, of course, with the Ravens adding Roquan Smith. And eventually they'll get Lamar Jackson back. So from there, I will shift straight to number 3, and that will be the Cincinnati Bengals. To Tuke's point, what he mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Burrow so far is undefeated against Patrick Mahomes. And if there is any team that has the capability to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be in Kansas City or Cincinnati, it's the Bengals. Of course, they still having their troubles on the offensive line as they've always had for years. But Joe Burrow is looking every bit as advertised as he has looked, and that combination with him and Jamar Chase is great. We'll see what this team looks like once Joe Mixon is back in the mix, but Cincinnati is definitely right there. The number 2, I have the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen has, for the most of this season, has looked like an MVP. I don't think he'll probably get the nod this year. But they have the weapons on offense. They have the weapons on defense. They did suffer a huge blow with Von Miller being out for the season with a torn ACL. But they have the tools. As long as they can get an established running game outside of Josh Allen, I don't see why they can't be playing in February for a Super Bowl championship. And obviously the number 1 team, probably the most complete team in football if you really want to keep it a buck, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts has looked every bit of the superstar that Savage was claiming him to be early on in his career. If you'd asked Sharkey and myself, would Jalen Hurts be this way watching him at Alabama, we would have told you no, because Jalen Hurts couldn't throw the ball down the field at Alabama. So kudos to him. I know it hurts Sharkey, but the addition of A.J. Brown, it almost looks like it's just been perfect, almost like a fit like a glove for Philly. They've always had a pretty good defense, so there's nothing to shout about there. They got a nice little running game with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. Of course, Kenny Gainwell. Of course, shout out to the former Tiger Kenny Gainwell as well. So this team is complete. It's shown week in and week out. I would be highly surprised if they're not holding up the Super Bowl trophy at the end of this season. So those are my top 5. So I went Niners, Ravens, Bengals, Bills, and then the Eagles.
Gotcha. We got 2 back. Can you hear us? Cool. And he had the Eagles. Okay. Yeah, you still want to elaborate? I know you had the Eagles at number 1. Do you want to elaborate more? You just
nah, man. You got a top defensive team, top offensive team. Like that's just you know what I'm saying, a success measure. You know what I'm saying, and that's what you got. You know, so any team that you get the top 3 in both of those categories is instant Super Bowl contenders. And Jalen Hurts been playing out his mind, so shout out to him.
Cool. That's for my top 5. Really, so I disagree with y'all on the Ravens. I had them like in my top 5 a couple when we did the top 5 rankings, I think back in October, and they immediately blew another lead in another 4-quarter lead right after I put them in my top 5. And then a couple weeks ago they did it again. So 4 times this season they done blew a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter. I don't trust them in the playoffs. Super Bowl contenders just don't do that. And that's the thing. They fell out of favor with me with that. They have the talent to do it, but when you do that many times, it's a recipe for disaster, especially when you start playing against those upper echelon teams. So my 15, the Cowboys made an interesting case, but we have to see what they do when they play against Eagles since they're talking all their noise. So I would go ahead and go with the 49ers. Although Brock Purdy is, last pick of a draft this year, rookie, San Francisco's talent all around him is just that much, that good, that it could be a Nick Foles situation in Philly where you just that good, where the team is around you is that good that you can
as long as you don't turn the ball over.
Exactly.
Just don't turn the ball over. That's all you have to do in that situation.
Exactly. And Debo's injury wasn't season ending, so he should be back in time for the playoffs. So that should help them going forward. So I put them at 5. I got the Bills lower than what y'all have. I have them at 4. At this point, I need to see them beat the Chiefs in the playoffs before I actually put them over the Chiefs. They do have the 1 seed right now, so a big step for them was getting home field advantage against the Chiefs in that situation. But they do still have a couple tough games today against Miami. The last game of the season against the Bengals. That's the game I'm really interested in because I've seen the Bengals beat the Chiefs 3 times this year. And so I want to see how they match up against the Bills. So that goes to my number 3 team is the Chiefs because the Bengals are my number 2 because the Chiefs are 0-3 versus the Bengals in this same calendar year. So that's the reason I got them exactly what I have. The Bengals are playing the best ball. They're arguably the hottest team outside the Eagles right now. The offensive line started off the season struggling. But most of the time, offensive lines, they have to gel cohesively most of the time. So when you bring in I think they had 3 new linemen. Of course, they started the season a little slower and overreactions. Hey, they still got a good offensive line. They've gotten gradually better throughout the season. That's normally how it works with offensive line because out of all position groups, that group really do have to gel as a cohesive unit more than any other position group on the football field. So the Bengals, Joe Burrow making plays. They looking like a real legit, like the best team in the AFC right now. The only problem is, well, not really. They still play the Ravens because they lose the tiebreaker to them right now. That's why the Ravens are still ahead of them, but they do play them again, and they play the Bills. So we'll know these last couple weeks the Bengals can take that next step to potentially get the 1 seed or get that top seed and really make a run to Super Bowl. So that top seed between them, Bills, Chiefs, even the Ravens for that matter, that might go a long way to determine who really going to truly go to the Super Bowl this year at the AFC. And number 1, Eagles. Like you said, the AJ Brown edition, along with the Eagles, make moves like a team that's trying to win, and I appreciate that. Like they had a weakness on the defensive line with stopping the run. They signed Lavelle Joseph and Dominican Sue before Jordan Davis even come back. Like they tried, they really gonna go out. They traded for Robert Quinn, although he's ready. Like somebody get hurt, guess what? We got Robert Quinn ready to go. Like they make moves that's like a team that's like we going all in, and it's not like an all in thing where it's gonna blow up. Where it's like win this year, then they slot next year. They are set. Like they youth getting AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. I'm tired of the disrespect that I'm hearing between like other players. I don't think what Michael Parsons said about him was like just too bad, but it's still like y'all trying to discredit him. And if y'all want to know why he's always call Josh Allen the great white hope, the Jalen Hurts situation right now is what's showing it. When before Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen wasn't sorry. He was pretty decent. He was good. Stephon Diggs he goes over the top. But we give Josh Allen credit. Jalen Hurts, same thing. Before AJ Brown, decent. Okay, get AJ Brown. He goes over the top. Now, it's the system. It's AJ Brown. He got all these weapons. We don't do the same thing for the great white hope and Josh Allen. And Josh Allen cold. I ain't finna act like he ain't cold, but you could tell the quarterbacks.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
I'll finish. Yeah, I was finished.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but this isn't the first time that this happened because everything that they're praising Josh Allen for now, the things that he was doing, they were shining Cam Newton for as well. So this isn't the first time that this has happened.
Yep.
But I'll explain on my end why I didn't have the Chiefs in. The only reason because I wanted to keep it to 5. I couldn't decide on the 15. So, and I didn't want to be that one dude and just have 6 teams in the top 5. So that's the only reason. If I were to put the Chiefs there, they obviously would be at number 2, and everyone else slides down the spot. So because Patrick Mahomes pretty much probably could be more likely will probably be MVP this year, but them losing Tyreek Hill, we thought it was gonna hurt, but it doesn't show much. Juju has been every bit of I wouldn't necessarily say a missing piece, but he's been every bit of the Juju of old. They don't really have a big time number 1, but the number 1 receiver is Travis Kelce. Let's just keep it a buck. But their receiving core is formidable, and then they may not be as explosive as they've been in years past with Patrick Mahomes, but they're still just as formidable. They still can put up points, and they're still pretty decent on the defensive side of the ball as well. So if I had to put the Chiefs in, they'll definitely be number 2, and everyone slides down the spot. But because the Ravens and the 49ers are like right here because they have similar issues, either one of those teams could make a Super Bowl run, in my opinion. I think the Ravens eventually going to get Lamar Jackson back, but of course, to Sharky's point, we need to see it in the playoffs. And then the 49ers are, if we want to keep it real, they're built for the Super Bowl. But they have Brock Purdy, and all he just needs to do is just not turn the ball over. So there you go.
I do got a question for Toot, and I used to really high on the Minnesota Vikings. How you feel about them now? I know, like, they record-wise, they're still like top team, but they done had a couple weeks where they like just got like flat out smoked against like.
That's all. The last couple of weeks is literally why they ain't in my top 5. Like that's literally it. Is that, and it's like them and I put the Cowboys in the same boat as a matter of I can't pick you to win a Super Bowl until I see you in it. or at least close to it. Give me a conference finals, you know what I'm saying? But Sheedy keep on bringing the fact that, of course, the Cowboys will be a second seed in the NFC East, so they won't have a home game. My goddamn Panthers looking like they're gonna have a home game, and if I get a Panthers Cowboys matchup, I can see the Panthers beating the Cowboys. So I really can't say the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders.
I'm telling you,
Trevor predicted it.
Yeah, I did. It's gonna be one or two scenarios. Either the Cowboys are gonna go to Carolina and lose, or they're gonna lose to Tom Brady. It's gonna be one of those two. Because I think between the Panthers and the Bucs at this point, one of y'all has to win that division. Somebody has to win the division. And I had this discussion about this. Like, until we get rid of it, it is what it. Until we get rid of divisions altogether, it is what it is, man. So there you go.
Yep, y'all follow my guy, The Real Deal, and Damian Adams. He had made a video about that. So I doubt they ever changed that. I need him to come see
me real quick, real soon.
I doubt they ever changed that. My whole thing is they're going back with Trevor. I think what Trevor responded to him, I've always said that. Just re-ranked it, reorder. The NBA ran into that problem a couple years ago with San Antonio and Dallas were in the same division. They had the two best records in the West, but I think Dallas had to end up being a 4 seed because they got all division winners, top 3 seeds, and they played the second round instead of the Western Conference Finals. So they corrected it and just did the order based on records. So in my opinion, I think division winners, even with lose records, still get in, but they shouldn't get a home game. They should just beat the 7 seed and have to go to the number 2 seed instead of getting a home game against the 5 seed. That's what I would say. Especially, and that's what probably would likely happen if they were to change anything. They're not going to eliminate divisions. It just logically, I like the way he looks with divisions.
Yeah, it just makes more sense how it's structured. I mean, just rank the playoff teams based on record, and if they're tied, if they have a head-to-head, look at the head-to-head, look at their division record. You know, it's simple. It's just don't give a division winner with a 7-9 record a home game. That's pretty much all you really need to do.
Exactly. But from the field to the court, let's get to the NBA. I got to share my screen for this one for everyone's list audio. I don't know if y'all saw these new award designs that came out.
I have not. So
here we go. One NBA designed 6 new trophies came out earlier this week. The Michael Jordan trophy will be the MVP trophy. Kim Olajuwon will be Defensive Player of the Year. Wilt Chamberlain, Rookie of the Year. Jerry West, the Clutch Player of the Year. John Havlicek, Sixth Man of the Year, and George Mikan, Most Improved Player of the Year. The Clutch Player of the Year, I like the new, that's a little new little wrinkle in there. But look at these different designs. I know a lot of people was like they were checking the designs, basically, the actual trophies themselves. What y'all thoughts about, I guess, these little different designs of these trophies?
Okay.
Now I don't know which one is which.
I'm trying to look. I'm trying to decipher which one is which. So
shit, I don't look better still than that WNBA bullshit.
I wasn't even gonna go there. I wasn't gonna go there, but hey, it is what it is. I'm just gonna take a guess. They're not that impressive. I'm just gonna take a guess at some of these. So I think this top one, I'm gonna assume that's the George Mikan joint. I think that's that. The bottom one has to be obviously Defensive Player of the Year. So that's Hakeem Olajuwon. Could have chose a better.
Correct.
Could have chose a better one than that.
It looked like it'll fit a whole bottle of beer in it. It's like a good sip cup.
No, I mean I'm assuming that these are not the actual trophies, but the designs that's going to go on the eventual trophy. I'm hoping, because if these are the trophies, then
I hope so too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
That bottom one is 6 man. No, it's Clutch Player. So that's Jerry West.
That's Jerry West. Okay. So what will be the criteria for Clutch Player of the Year? That's a question I need to know.
I guess whoever made the most clutch baskets on. That's a good question. That's a real good question.
Hey, what's the criteria for Clutch Player of the Year?
Those last 2 minutes or something.
Wait. Wouldn't that? But because they do give out conference MVPs in the playoffs, right? So that could be a possibility. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out what this criteria is.
You talking about the Clutch Player?
Yeah.
I'm saying they probably keep up, like they probably record the number of field goals a player making like the last 2 minutes or something. Whoever got the most, they'll give it to that. No, they give it to that player. I can see that.
I guess
y'all see this Will Chamberlain Rookie of the Year trophy at the top.
Yeah, I got a problem with the names, bro. I got a problem with the names. Like
that's my next question.
All these old, I get it. Like respect the elders, I get it. But we're in 2022 now. You could have went at least, you know what I'm saying, outside. You know what I'm saying? I don't even remember. You know what I'm saying? John Havlicek being a 6-man. Was he a 6-man? Help me out.
The Damian Lillard Award, Savage. That's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think this year SGA get that though. I think this year SGA get that.
But he's saying who probably the trophy should be named after.
It definitely should be the Dame Lillard Award.
Yeah, the Dame Lillard trophy. Yeah, I definitely give it. No, see the case with John Havlicek, he definitely he's considered as probably one of the best 6-men ever. And the only reason that's the case was, excuse me, back in those days, man, when the Celtics were just running ruckshot of the league, they were pretty stacked. Like they were Warriors with KD on steroids. If you look at their roster, that's why Russell has 11 out of 13. So I could see it, but me personally, you had options. Let's just keep it real. You had Lou Will, you had Jamal Crawford, Manu Ginobili, who's going to go in the Hall of Fame. Like you had options for 6-man of the year. So I'm
with you on that one. 6-man, I think that should have been Lou Will. Who got them? I think Lou Will got the most. No, Jamal Crawford. Who got the most 22? I think Lou Will surpassed him.
Yeah, I think Lou Will has the most. So that was easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess because of Will.
I was like Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year probably was hard because you only win Rookie of the Year once. So I guess who's the best rookie ever?
I'll level with, because I know my name says no more LeBron Jordan talk. I'll level with you. You probably could have gave LeBron that one. Because nobody has kind of seen. I mean, I now obviously.
It
was a debate.
I thought Melo had a better rookie year.
Yeah, I said although it's a debate.
I couldn't agree more.
Although it's a debate on who should have got rookie of the year.
I couldn't agree more.
Melo Anthony, got the Nuggets to the playoffs, but LeBron had better numbers. But you probably could have given LeBron
barely.
Huh?
I said barely.
I didn't say how if it was a distance. I just said it. I'm just stating facts. So
also and
Tim Duncan, yes, that's true. Tim Duncan is a good one too. Savage.
Oh yeah, that could have been one. He did.
Yeah,
and like with John Havlicek, just to bring it back to him, John Havlicek didn't even play a year when the 6-man of the Year award came out. You know what I'm saying? Like the award started in 1982. Havlicek was in the 70s. So again, why we failing to show recognition to the newer players? Ginobili, he changed the game for the 6-man. Name it after him. If you want to bring some kind of international ball club into the whole situation, name it the Ginobili 6-man of the Year award. Everybody would agree with that. But no, you go get an old washed up player. Whatever, man. I ain't gonna call him washed up. I ain't gonna be disrespectful. But an old player who people never heard of.
Savage said it best in the comments.
Man.
Gotta get these 2000s.
Come on, dog.
You got to start acknowledging this 2000s era, dog. It is what it is.
I won't even say that. Say 90s, early 90s.
They're acknowledging the 90s. You got Jordan.
MJ Hakeem.
That's obvious though. But I guess.
But
I guess.
They did.
I mean, the 90s, if you want to keep it above, the 90s were dominated by those two.
By both of them, literally. Yeah. They won 8 of the 10.
Sure, we can pick a better 6-man in the 90s than John Havlicek. We can pick a better, most improved than
more so the 2000s.
More so the 2000s.
Balling. He ain't improved that much.
More so the 2000s. That's what that is.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah, so as y'all can tell, we've got more problem with the names than the actual trophies.
Yeah, that's why
the design still could be better, but I like someone say, I hope it's like, I think Trevor said, hopefully this is not the actual trophy. Hopefully it's just like what they call it.
I'm trying to figure out how long we're gonna keep Jerry West as a logo. Y'all know I love me some Jerry, but it's about time.
It's been time, but
It's bedtime.
You know.
Where's the petition? I signed that quick. I need Kobe Bryant on the logo. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. No pun intended.
But that's it for the award designs. Let's take a break and get a word from our sponsor.
Let's Be Real Media is pleased to announce we are sponsored by Ralph Brand. Ralph culture is surrounded by skates, punk, and hip-hop art. We are looking forward to co-designing materials for this journey with them. Please visit ralphbrand.com for purchasing merch now and for future collaborations with Let's Be Real Media.
And as always, remember, follow us on Twitter at LBR_media and follow us and listen to us on any podcasting platform, as we are on 11 different platforms and 12 if you include YouTube, as you may see us right now as we go live. Yeah, another comment from Savage. Jerry West is Mr. Clutch, but went like 1-9 in the finals.
That's true.
It's true. Man, but let's go to NBA turnaround. So I tried to mix NBA, tried to talk a little different from the guys through the Hollywood. Shout out to y'all with two she did Savage. Great episode this past week on the basketball player draft. Y'all did forget a couple people, but of course, it's on 3 of y'all. Yeah, a couple more people.
Hold on, who we forget? Who we forget?
Hey, you did. Y'all got Uncle Drew, but how y'all forget Aaron Gordon's character, Casper, on Uncle Drew? That might was getting 4 buckets.
That was
a lot of folks I had.
It was a lot of people. It was a lot of
the people y'all didn't take. I probably got him in junior battle from my front court off the top, but I couldn't think.
Y'all lunching. I got Ty Crane. I took Ty Crane.
Y'all did good. Like I said, so many, and like y'all.
I would have taken. I would have took Sydney since y'all didn't take him. He'd have been my
Ty
6th
Crane
man.
is a nasty one. I ain't gonna even lie. Ty Crane.
Y'all left Ty Crane on the board. I was like, I'm snatching him real quick.
If I want to get some more women, I don't know if y'all saw the movie Double Take on Disney. The twins. I would have got one of them.
No, wait a minute, bro. No.
Nah, Lola Bunny, watch it now.
No, they was traveling too much. No, Sharky. No.
Hey, who traveling? You watch the NBA now? Who's not traveling?
Good point.
Good point. Who's not traveling?
Good point.
I would have got them as my 6 one. I would have got one of them as my 6 man.
Yeah, Sydney would have been my 6 man. I would have had Damian as my starting point guard. I would have had a floor general out there. Yeah. But yeah, y'all left Ty Crane on the board. I was like,
Ty Crane.
Because ain't nobody else down.
Yeah, like I said, Casper, bro, he was giving the folks buckets on.
Oh yeah, Casper was giving the buckets on Uncle Drew too. That was another one. So.
Man, that was a really fun show.
That was a good one.
That was very I like how Savage come over. Y'all come over with the creative, just very different, man. It's just like
Hey, shout out to Devin in the lab on Twitter because that is hilarious.
Oh man, but NBA turnaround. So for this, we're basically trying to look at the standings, how they are, how the team's been playing so far, and determine a team that's doing well that's more likely to go the opposite direction and not make the playoffs and not do well later on going to the season. As if you have the teams with the hot starts that fall off later, like watch the Wizards last year is a good example. And you also have a team that starts off slow that turns around like the Contender. I'm not gonna mention a team because it might be one of y'all teams in this segment, but team that's normally a defending champion, for instance, that's not doing well, everybody expect to turn it around. So who are your teams? To start with Trevor and then 2, then back to me.
All right, I'll give one for each conference just to kind of keep it consistent for both sides. So I'll start with 2 teams that I think are more likely to have a slow start right now that are more likely to turn it around. Out east, I'm looking at everything now, and they're still in the playoffs right now. But if the playoffs started today, they'll be in the play-in. And I know a lot. This team has caught a lot of flack because they didn't make any moves in the offseason. But I've been saying it for time and time again. You don't judge this team until January or post All-Star break, and that is the Miami Heat. They're right at 500 right now as I'm looking at the standings. But you just got to believe at some point as we go into 2023 in the new year, Miami's going to hit their stride. They're going to get things going. Yeah, they're a little bit older than usual, but it is what it is. They still have Jimmy Butler. I think Bam, once he realizes that Miami is much better when he's aggressive and actually is looking to score, he makes Miami that much better. Tyler Hero, we know what you can get from him, so it's just a matter of him being consistent. Kyle Lowry has played every game, has pretty much been Mr. Iron Man for Miami, has been in the lineup, but he's got to hit some shots. But you got to think at some point he's going to hit some shots. And you already know what you're going to get from Jimmy Butler when he's in the lineup. So for a team to turn it around, again, they're in the play-in right now, so it necessarily is not a full turnaround, but they can definitely get in the top 5, possibly the top 4 in the East come playoff time. So that'll be my team for the East. I'll let Took name the Golden State Warriors for the West, but a team out West that could potentially turn around. And honestly, it really depends on health. And I can't believe we're going to say this. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. They actually have been balling as of late. I think now that they've realized that offensively they need to run everything through Anthony Davis. Just get him going. LeBron, when he's healthy, does his thing, but also tries to just play within the offense and stop trying to go for the scoring record because he has cost teams games because of that. Russell Westbrook, while I felt he shouldn't have gone to the bench, is looking like a 6 man of the year candidate this year as well. Of course, they're locking up on defense. They still have their questions, of course, for them not being able to shoot and things of that nature, but and I know Davis just went out again last night in the game against the Nuggets, so this may be all for naught. But if the Lakers can get a nice couple games from Anthony Davis, man, and he can actually stay healthy, I can see the Lakers possibly turning around and possibly making the play-in. So they'll be my two teams that'll be able to that's off to a slow start that can turn around. So I'll let two go, and then we'll just kind of go around, and then I'll start with two teams that are off to a hot start that is eventually going to fall off. So, two.
So, ironically, the two teams that I have turning it around will turn it around, I think, about the same time, God willing. One of those teams is the Warriors, what Trevor just said. I think they'll turn around after All-Star break for the simple fact that Steph Curry is going to be missing for a few weeks. And number two, I honestly feel like the Warriors are going to make some kind of move, because if they don't, this season could actually be a disaster. What I mean by that is that I'm not seeing the championship team that I saw last year. Granted, personnel are missing, but it's just that chemistry, man. It's just something ain't right. Y'all heard me call, Jordan Poole the overpaid role player, and now he's going to come into a situation where now he's going to have to prove himself. Is he going to? Is he going to make that extra pass that, that's needed to be made? Is he going to stop going 4 for 16, 4 for 17? How good is Clay going to be? Andrew Wiggins just got back into the lineup. James Wiseman, they still don't know what the hell they doing with him. It's too many question marks around this team, and either the Warriors going to make a move around All-Star break, or they going to plumble. So it's an asterisk by the Warriors for this season. Y'all know I've been right about them for years. The other team, Clippers. I know we talk crap about the Clippers, but they still top 8, and without playing Kawhi and Paul George. And when Kawhi did just randomly play out the blue, he hitting game-winning shots. So I think at this point, when we see Kawhi Leonard or Paul George for the rest of their careers, it's going to be, okay, wait until the All-Star break. Kawhi Leonard, at this point in his career, he ain't worried about no All-Star game. He not worried about MVPs. He worried about that ring on their finger. And I think once the All-Star break turn around and the Clippers continue to be a top 8, top 7 team, and you put that lineup into it, that's way more than enough time to get some playoff magic going. So if they got two teams to turn it around, it'll be the Clippers, asterisk by the Warriors. And we can stop it right there.
I like the Clippers win. Same thing you just said. That at some point they're going to get their chemistry. They're going to have to actually play to get the chemistry right. So that's the thing. Would it be too late by the time they actually do it and go into the playoffs? But time would tell. I do think they're definitely trend upward. My team, and I need this team to trend up, is Dallas. I really just don't believe they're a 500 team. I think what's going on now is their shooters are just missing shots. They're in the slump. Eventually, like Tim Hardaway Jr., I saw he was like having single-digit games. Then all of a sudden, he came out and started dropping 20 points a game. So it's at some point the shooters are going to actually, the law averages, they're going to start making more of their shots, and I think they're going to turn it up. And as the Grizzlies, man, we need them to, because I would hate to have the 1 seed, and we look across the floor as an up 8 seed against the Dallas Mavericks, a team we having trouble beating. That's
talk
the
about
worst case
karma.
scenario.
Talk about karma. Oh my god.
No, sir. I do not need it. So I need Dallas to actually improve, and I do believe they will. And for the East, I mean, it's obvious. It seems it's pretty obvious, but Miami, they finally got back to 500. But I just injuries galore. Same just around the league. It seems like that. But Miami, Jimmy Butler missed a lot of time, and other players to be in and out. They're trying to get used to Tyler Hero starting. You know, he's not coming off the bench anymore, so you're missing your bench spark. So now their bench is not as good with him starting. But since he got all that money, one thing about him getting all the money was him becoming a starter. So he's been playing well as a starter. Bam has been more aggressive. I've seen him like have 40. I think he had a 40-point game one time or close to it, in like almost a 40-20 game. And I'm like, that's all we've been asking, just to be more aggressive. Same thing we asked Triple J, be more aggressive. And there you can see, I think it's like the players getting older, they're getting more confident. So you're seeing there in Miami and Jimmy Butler returning. So they're finally starting to get it rolling some. They just need to figure out the bench thing. If Tyler Hero is not going back to the bench, which is probably not, they got to figure it out, because Victor Oladipo, I guess he finally came back, but I don't know if he's not Victor Oladipo. He's probably more just a defensive stopper right now. So they might have to make a move to really truly.
I was just about to ask you that, Sharky. I was
literally contender status. To be contender because of the bench, really the bench. If Tyler Hero not going back to it, which he probably not, they need somebody, Jordan Clarkson, like something like that, like that gets them right back on track. All right, now go on to the next teams.
All right, before that, I had a question with two, because you mentioned, and I do believe that the Warriors eventually will turn it around. You mentioned all the guys that need to step up for the Warriors during this time that Steph is out. But one name that should have been named that you didn't name was Draymond Green. And that's a question that I'm gonna pose to you as the Warriors fan and to any Warriors fans that's actually listening out there. Why is it that why don't you hold Draymond Green accountable for when situations like this happen? Like when Steph is out, why isn't Draymond Green the one that has to pick it up as far as his scoring and things of that nature?
I think because that's not Draymond's game. I think Draymond's game is to get those 8 to 10 rebounds a game and to get to make the extra passes and to make sure Steph Curry and everybody else get his touches. You asking Draymond Green to score. I ain't seen Draymond Green scores consistently since the time he put the 6 3-pointers in the finals. I think it was 2016, 2015.
Game 7.
Game 7 of the finals.
He scored 32. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Outside of that, and when it matters most, I can't see Draymond scoring enough, but he does everything else well. So to put more, Draymond need to score expectations on him is kind of unfair. But he does everything else. It's just kind of like asking, Ben Simmons to go out there and score more when that's not his game. So if I'm paying Jordan Poole $50 million, you better score the damn ball. Klay Thompson, I don't know what you got to get your head out your ass or something. I need you to take better shots. Andrew Wiggins, consistency is key. I can't say nothing about him, but them players, when we paying them to score, we're paying $50 million, $40 million for Jordan Poole to score, and he's still going 4 for 17 with Steph out. That's the issue I got.
And to your point too about the chemistry with them. Think about the Grizzlies. We lose Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson. Now Twitter. How I let those guys have it. I decided to be petty because we can get into the action, but I let them guys have it. The Grizzlies could move forward to a David Roddy and Jacob Rayfield and be just fine, right? Because everybody like each other. Everybody gets along. Golden State, you can lose Otto Porter and Gary Payton, and it definitely it lingers. So it's like, dang, they were just role players, but chemistry matters. Like that team losing them. And then the Jordan Poole, Draymond thing happened. You could tell like the difference between like them and the Grizzlies chemistry wise. It's just like it does make a difference with teams.
All right. So here's
one more key word in that. My bad, Trevor. One more key word in that is coaching. Coaching is going to be very critical as far as the Warriors go, because ain't no way in hell James Wiseman should still be in the G League. Granted, he hadn't played well, but you
got to play him.
He shouldn't be in the G League. Ain't no way in hell Kuminga should be slowing out. Ain't no way in hell Moses Moody shouldn't be getting clocked. You got it's a mix of veterans and rookies and younger players that's just not meshing. And the only thing that I gotta look at is the coaching.
And go right before Trevor go. If you're not gonna play them, trade them. It's simple as that. Like
Exactly.
make the move, make them move.
Exactly.
Like either play them or trade them. Like it's no or play them so you can get their trade stock up to trade them.
Look, no pun intended, but I would love to have the actual Splash Brothers of Steph Curry and Steph Curry on the Warriors. Go on, send Wiseman to the Nets if you want to. Go ahead, please.
The Nets could use them. The Nets could use. They need size. But yeah, my okay. So going back to Draymond Green real quickly. So he's averaging to what Sheedy calls the triple single. Obviously, he's averaging just a little bit over 8 points a game. So during this stretch with Steph, is him going from 8, I'd say, to about 14 a game. Is that too much to ask for Draymond Green?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has he done it before? I know he's averaged 12 before. Boom. Has he averaged 14?
It's just 6 points. That's why I'm asking. It's literally just 6 more points.
No, because you got to think, you got players like Jordan Poole that's gonna be like, shit, I get to shoot more. You know what I'm saying? You got other scoring opportunities for other players, so I can see maybe 10, 11 at the most.
He did average 14 in 2015. Yeah, I mean 14 on the dot.
That's what I'm saying.
And that was 7 years ago.
It's literally just
I'm surprised if Draymond Green don't get.
It's literally 2 threes and 3 more buckets. So you mean to tell me you can't
threes though?
So you mean to tell me he can't get 3 more buckets in transition?
Right, I am, because he's gonna look to pass. I'm telling you, it's not a knock on Draymond, but I'm telling you what I'm telling you.
I know Draymond too, but I just find it funny that every time when things are going wrong with the Warriors and Steph is injured or Steph is out or Clay is out or something like that, Draymond checks out as well, and we not holding him to the same standard as we holding Steph and Clay because we're considering Draymond Green to be a quote unquote Hall of Famer, but when the light shines brightest on him to actually do something, he doesn't do anything. So that was my whole
that's
question.
False, but
that's not his game.
Yeah,
it's not.
He's not going Hall of Fame.
If he was averaging 14 a game, then you have a better case to say, okay, he can get to 18. But like I said, it's just not his game.
So you mean to tell me Draymond Green in this stretch now without Steph? I'm not saying with Steph or anything. You mean to tell me he can't give you 3 more buckets?
When Steph was hurt 2019, 2020, or Clay, I forgot which year. He averaged 8.
That was 2020. I think it was 2021 because that was the year the Grizzlies put him out of the play-in. So
he averaged 7.5. He averaged 8, 7, and 7.5 those 3 seasons.
Right.
All right. I'll leave it alone. It was just something that just kind of. I was curious about it. I really had to ask about it.
I mean, it's really legit because, like you say, if he
was legit, it's legit.
He would be a Hall of Famer, right? It's the truth. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, if it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Well, with that, we'll switch it over, and I'll start off with teams that are off to a good start that we probably expect to kind of take a fall as the season goes along. And I'll just get the obvious one out the way, and that's the Utah Jazz. Granted, they've played well to start the season. They're sitting 7th right now in the Western Conference. But you got to think Danny Ainge is probably going to be like, all right, y'all, we've done enough. We trying to tank for Victor here. We got all these assets. We got all these draft picks. So some of y'all probably going to be moved towards the trade deadline. So don't be surprised if Jordan Clarkson's move or a couple of other pieces there are moved. I'll be highly surprised if these folks are still competing or tank competing by the end of the All-Star break. So I'll definitely go there. And they're already on the east side. They're already slipping, but I think they're going to slip more. And that's the Atlanta Hawks, man. And it's sad because we really thought that this move for DeJounte Murray was supposed to be everything that Trae Young needed to help push the Hawks forward, and it has been wouldn't necessarily say a disaster, but it hasn't been good either. And then now with the whole situation between Trae Young and Nate McMillan is going on, that's not looking good as well, and that could potentially end bad for both parties, honestly, because if Nate McMillan is out of the job, that's going to be a terrible look for Trae Young, because that'll be the second coach that Trae Young has gotten up out of there, and then the whole that narrative is going to start with Trae Young, and then Trae Young is shooting terrible this year, probably the worst. If I'm not mistaken, his averages right now are probably the worst of his career right now, and now he's turned into from just a shooter to just a chucker, like he's just chucking up shots, and that's what it's looking like from the games that I watched with Atlanta. I really do hope that once they get healthy, that they can turn it around and eventually get it going, but I really don't see it right now. Until they get this whole thing situated, this Trae Young situation handled, and they get DeJounte Murray back in the lineup, things are going to get worse in Atlanta before they get better.
I honestly couldn't agree with you more as far as Atlanta going. I'm somebody that was on the Atlanta bandwagon, at the beginning of the season for sure, as far as, them having a good season. As far as Trae Young, the Trae Young situation go, like I said, I couldn't agree more. But I think it's kind of like the talent, like they don't have too many talented players. You know what I'm saying? And I think that kind of does make a difference as well. Granted, Trae Young is shooting terribly. DeJounte Murray is still, doing his thing, as far as averaging the numbers that we thought he was going to average. But just like everybody else, we need, what to expect from them. And it's not too much of this one. So I think that's kind of getting them right now. As far as teams that I got making a come down, I got Utah as well. For the simple fact that everything you just said, I think they're going to start team competing. But two, I had to pick either between could I see Utah making the playoffs or Sacramento making the playoffs, and I can make Sacramento making the playoffs over Utah. So that's really why Utah is on this list as well. Another one would be as far as like a step down, because I definitely had this team being a top 4 team, and it's looking like they're gonna be a play-in team. And Sharky, you talked about Dallas turning around and bringing it up. I think it could easily be the complete opposite. And what I mean by that is on 3 the Hardaway, I brought up the situation that Luka came into this season, 3 weeks away from playing basketball. With most players, they take months off, at least 8 months. Luka been playing ball all summer, and then you bring him back into this situation of lack of chemistry. And like you said, Sharky, nobody's sending shots. It's a dead case out there. And then you still got Christian Wood coming off the bench, who we know should be starting. JaVale McGee, who I thought was going to be a better, rim protector than what he's doing. He's not having a good season. It's a bunch of players outside of Spencer Dinwiddie who needs to step up on this Dallas team. And do I expect them to step up? Yeah. Do I see Luka, keeping his magic up throughout the rest of the season, especially after the playoffs? Yeah. He may it's too many question marks around Dallas right now for me. So they, like I said, I expect them to be a top 4, top 3 team, but right now they're saying they're top 7, top 8, and I don't expect them to be back in that top 4 seed. And if I were to pick anything, I could expect them to be in a play-in.
Yep, I can see that. Dallas is like the ultimate. If you want to be honest, I think Dallas will probably stay exactly where they at. They're just gonna be like just a 500 team. They don't go up or go down. They probably just go that's probably what's going to happen based on what I heard different sides. Of course, it happens with the universe. So my team making a move in the West is going downhill. I think Jazz is just so obvious, although they started to scale, then they won a couple against New Orleans. So this is something about going to Utah and having to play back-to-back games there. The Grizzlies and Pelicans both lost back-to-back games there, and they're the top 2 seeds in the West. But I do think the Jazz, they don't want to win. So I just believe they're going to make the moves to get some of these folks out. They still ain't too far away from fully tanking, because the way that it works with the lottery now, although you get the worst record, you don't have the highest odds in the order. I think the top 3 worst records get the same odds. So you still...
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, just get to a position where we could potentially get to the one, get the number 1 pick. So eventually, I think they're gonna start getting these players off, which Jordan Clarkson and Grizzlies. I know, I'll talk about this more on Starting 5, but Desmond Bane, the on his injury, if he potentially has to have surgery. Worst case scenario, that's the trade they should consider. If that
Nah, they should
comes
consider
down.
that
I don't know.
regardless.
Danny
If it
Green
comes
talking
down
about
to it.
Diaz Banks supposed to be back on Christmas. So
I know, but I'm
We'll see.
saying, yeah, because I'm hearing it's a can you tolerate the pain type of injury for the rest of the season.
For the
That
rest of the
might
season.
be the case. Yeah, and if he
And
can't,
we only 20 games in. You about to play another,
bingo. Yeah, so
but
we'll
another
see.
80 potentially because the Grizz are going to be in the playoffs. So yeah, that's a good point.
Right, so that's just something we're talking more about on starting five. And of course, y'all always listen to us on starting five. Next week it'll be coming out on Tuesday, but yeah, I think the Jazz they're going to start. I think the key with them, Mike Conley. When Mike Conley got hurt, that's when they started losing. When he returned, to start making winning. So Mike Conley is definitely up out of there. That's the one they got to get up out there, but not anybody else. Because he the one who's.
I promise you, Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley finna be on the trading block with the quickness.
He still got me coming for a reason, man. He still got me coming for a reason.
Yep.
Right. And Eastern Conference, it's kind of battling back and forth. The Pacers have already started to slide, and I just would have presumed that because just being a young team. But Rick Carlisle is such a good coach that they still might be in the play-in scenario. I'm gonna go. The Knicks so shockingly won 6 in a row. I still just don't believe in the Knicks. I know Tom Thibodeau's a hard-nosed coach. He's gonna get them to play hard, but I just don't feel like they're the 6th seed right now. I don't see that standing.
I think it's the complete opposite with the Knicks when it comes to that. Yeah. I think the players are checked out on Tom Thibodeau, and I think Tuka and the guys had touched on this on starting five. Like Tibbs will give you maybe 1 or 2 good seasons, and one of those 2 may be a really good season to where some hardware is coming there, whether it was him winning Coach of the Year or the year Derrick Rose won MVP. But after that, it's just the players eventually check out on them. We're already hearing that Cam Reddish is being shopped. I honestly, for a second round pick, if I'm the Grizz, I would probably explore that possibly. I think you need to move. If I'm the Knicks, I need to look to move Julius Randle. I just think that he's good, but I think he'll be a better fit somewhere else. I just think he needs a fresh start somewhere else. I think he could be a quality player off the bench for a playoff team possibly. So I'll probably look to move him, and then just look to build with the guys that you have. And then RJ Barrett, since he got the bag, he's looked terrible this season as well. So I believe you 100% with the Knicks, but I believe it's just for the exact opposite reason that you mentioned. I think these players have kind of checked out on Tibbs.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll see. They won 6 in a row. So who knows? A winning streak can go a long way with a team.
That is true. That is
no
true.
Confidence. I would say
get hot at the right time. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Knicks are the type of team that wins 6 in a row and lose the next 4. Like, that's the only reason I ain't said too much on that, because I like the Knicks team. But I think, Trevor, you definitely right. I think they definitely checked out. And Sharky, like I said, the inconsistency is kind of getting me, because they can easily, with that roster, they can definitely be a top 4 team in the East. But they just ain't putting it together.
Exactly. But to end the show, it's going to go to one of these different segments. Like we have Trolling Owls, Would You Rathers, Real Talk, Flower segment. We ain't had any of these segments in a while, but I figured I had to definitely bring the Flower segment. First, on the extended note, I did want to go and give flowers to the Brooklyn Nets real quick before I actually go, and it's probably going to go to who I actually give them to for turning around. Shout out to Jock Vaughn. Nobody's really talking. It's like they're sneakily doing it.
They've been real quiet about Kevin Durant. I'm just going to keep it 100. They've been real quiet.
Like I said, honeymoon over, huh?
Took her to get it.
Honeymoon season
no. Hey, no, they went to therapy. They went to counseling. That's what happened.
Hey,
they got God into it.
They went to counseling, and now Jock Vaughn got them boys hooping out there. So I would definitely give the Brooklyn Nets credit. I will personally give Kevin Durant credit for the leadership that he is taking in this turnaround, which nobody has talked about during this whole time, because when the whole interview came out about him throwing his teammates under the bus, we thought it was going to be downhill under there. But him taking his team to the heights that they're taking them to, they had a big win in Toronto last night. They're 4th in the East right now. So got to give their flowers what their flowers do. So kudos to the Brooklyn Nets.
Hey man, Kevin Durant having one of his most efficient seasons ever, and niggas ain't said nothing. And I remember my brother called me when he was like, "Hey, you gonna let your boy KD talk crap about his teammates?" I said, "Yeah, they deserved it." But at the same time, it was taken out of context of what he was saying. Like nobody knows who, respectfully, Everett Sumner, and nobody knows who the starline is. And you expect me to come in and help us win? I mean, it's kind of unfair. But they pulling it together.
It might say it there like you had Kevin Durant speak it out or something.
He did though. He really did.
Like, that's my guy. Damn, Jay.
like what? I can call him and tell him what? Like what?
Hey, don't you go on my phone with this BS? They gonna put it together. They gonna be together. Chill.
Transitioning to the Flowers, sticking with Brooklyn is Kyrie Irving, and another thing, we always put out the negative stuff. Every national media gonna always negativity sells, right? But when he does something positive, a young girl at Howard University needed $6,000 to remain in school, and Kyrie got on her GoFundMe and sent her $22,000. What's 22 minus 6? 16. 16,000 more than she needed to finish school, and this man going to stay in school. So he probably paid her enough to actually stay in school throughout, not just for one semester, but throughout the rest of her college career. Why is this not being published more? But we all know why. That's why we're gonna give them flowers on here, because that's what we do. We try to bring out the positivity and bring out the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. So we
can appreciate that, because we was definitely gonna talk about this on 3 the Harder Way, for real, marriage counseling. We were definitely gonna talk about this on 3 the Harder Way, but like we as the black media gotta start doing more as far as giving players flowers what they do off the court, because this ain't the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh time that Kyrie Irving has done something great for other people. But because he's the evil boogeyman that the people don't love, we ain't gonna hear none of this shit. So salute to Kyrie. Keep still, please keep doing your thing. That whether you get the recognition or not for it, we just ask that players continue to help other people. Like it's helping season. You know what I'm saying? Help the next person next to you. And Kyrie Irving has done way more, even for the WNBA purposes. He's helped with WNBA, but we ain't gonna hear nothing about that. So, hey, shout out to Kyrie, and I hope his next shoes be super affordable like the Shaqs on Walmart. Yeah.
I got a flower. I got some flowers I want to give out. I'm just gonna give them out to HBCUs in general. I know hidden within all the talk about Deion leaving Jackson State for Colorado, we've had some great things happen. Everyone's favorite player to hate, Chris Paul, of course, recently just graduated from I believe it was North Carolina Central. So he flew down to North Carolina for the graduation. His graduating class each got $2,500 apiece, so that's that was love to his college students as well. Shout out to, and I know we didn't get a chance to acknowledge it. Shout out to Grambling State head coach Dante Jackson for coaching his guys up, leading Grambling to a win over Vanderbilt in Vanderbilt earlier this season, which nobody has been talking about. And then lastly, although it was in the losing effort, a big shout out to former NBA champion and current Jackson State basketball coach Mo Williams on a hell of an effort against Mississippi State, ranked Mississippi State by them, undefeated Mississippi State, led by former Memphis Tiger DJ Jeffries for effort in there as well. So while all this Deion talk is going on, HBCUs has been doing it up in the basketball realm as well. So shout out.
Man, don't be using your platform to recognize losers. We don't do that on here. We recognize winners, man.
I didn't know what we used to coaching though, so that's
I didn't know either, because I remember he was at Alabama State at one point, and then I just all of a sudden I just saw him to check to it. I was like, when did he get to Jackson State?
That's pretty cool.
They were 1-8. They were 1-8.
Yeah, I was like, you're 1-8, and you took, I think Mississippi State was ranked 17th in the nation and undefeated. You took them pretty much to the brink, and you just fell apart late. But you gotta give credit where credit's due. You gotta give some kind of recognition. So there you go.
Yeah, I also like the segment, like how you brought up Chris Paul graduating at HBCU. Once again, negativity from last week with Kanye West and that tweet about Kim K and Chris Paul. We go from that. We're going to preach positivity on here. Like you go and say it ahead.
All right, We gotta make it a positive. Gotta make it a positive.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Graduate HBCU. Shout out to CP3, man. Doing good things out here. Despite what haters got to say.
Apparently, Kanye, he doing great things out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anywho.
All right, man. Remember, follow us on Twitter. Twitter is still here. I know Twitter Space is left for a second, but it's back as well.
Oh, it's back? I heard he took it down. It's back.
It had the bug issues, apparently.
Boy, Twitter falling apart right before I.
and we just on there laughing it up too.
And you're upcharged. You're upcharged to iOS now for Twitter Blue is $11 instead of $8, but it's $8 online if you do it from your browser.
So question, because you know me, I'm always looking for loopholes. If you get Twitter Blue on the browser and they access it from your phone, do you still have Twitter Blue capabilities?
I haven't tested it, but I don't have an iPhone anyway.
I wouldn't want you to test it. That's $11 you could probably use for someone.
Well, I don't have an iPhone. Anyway, so I could get it on my phone. On Android, he ain't got it for Android, so I got to get it on computer anyway. So it might not matter for people with iPhones. I don't know.
$11 out of me.
Not out of me either. So,
but this is the end of the show. Of course, you already know. I already said it twice during the show, but say it again. Follow us on Twitter at LBR_media and subscribe to this on YouTube and our other 11 different podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, etc. You name them. Also, check out 3 the Harder Way with Took, Sheedy, and Savage. Appreciate dropping another one this upcoming Monday. And of course, us on Starting 5, we'll be dropping back on Tuesday, talking about the Memphis Grizzlies and elaborate more on what the Grizzlies are doing as they're on the 7-game winning streak and number 1 in the Western Conference. But as always, y'all know y'all can follow me at the1D8ONE_ P Shark on Twitter.
Yeah, and I'm on Twitter still at the Art of Trevor. That's my Starting 5 stick. And if we don't see you next week, have a happy holiday season. And remember, Friday after next is a Christmas movie.
Absolutely. And we need to go ahead and retire that debate. I'm done having that talk with people. At this point, if you don't realize that, you're an idiot. But it's at Tab Shakir. You can quote me if you want. But Friday After Next is a Christmas movie. Stop with the BS.
And Grizzlies fans and Grizzlies players, follow Grizz Vibes, man. Took is bringing real music to the Grizzlies.
Thank you.
Intro. Thank what the NBA Twitter account did the other day.
And look, and Stephen A still think Elvis run the city.
Pitiful. But till then,
he's got to be, somebody's got to be putting it in his ear because he's
just old.
Well,
he's only been to the city one time, so I guess there you go.
That's how one billboard. But till then, we out.